Part 2, Building the New Nation. The first objective of the new nation was to set up a provisional government that had the people's support, like the Provisional Revolutionary Government of South Vietnam. This government would be a temporary government until the people of that community have time to implement a permanent structure. The appointed leaders of this new government were Russell Means in Oglala Sioux from Porcupine, South Dakota, Dennis Banks from Minnesota, and Carter Camp. All are national coordinators of the American Indian Movement. Also included were Stan Holder, Clyde Belcourt, and Pedro Bisonet, who is from the Oglala Sioux Civil Rights Organization of the Pine Ridge Reservation. The day the independent Oglala Sioux Nation was born, the building of the new nation, or renewed nation, began in earnest. Committees, all of which are headed by local Wounded Knee residents, were established to take responsibility for different areas of work. The different areas consisted of housing, maintenance, clothing, food, internal and border security, and the hospital. Each group was made of people who were experienced in those areas. Everyone who came to or who lived inside Wounded Knee was expected to work in one of these groups, as well as to do security when needed. Anyone unwilling to work, with the exception of the press, was asked to leave. Internal organization. The housing group was responsible for building and supplying housing for people living inside Wounded Knee. There would be no cliques or people living together just because they came to Wounded Knee together. Everyone would be integrated into a new nation. The housing group also builds bunkers for security. The maintenance group was responsible for repairs on houses of the people already living in the community, as well as for all the new houses built, such as plumbing, fixtures, roofing, electricity, carpentry, etc. The clothing and food group set up a commissary where all food and clothing brought into Wounded Knee would be stored and equally distributed, first among the original residents and then the rest of the community through the head cooks of each household. A medical aid station was set up, staffed by citizens of the new nation and people from around the country who arrived for short periods of time to offer assistance. People learned to administer Indian medicine under the spiritual direction of Crow Dog, the spiritual leader, and medicine man of AIM. Also used there are Chinese medicine and Western medicine. Classes were held in the medical station so that people could learn to treat common ailments and to learn emergency first aid. Also set up immediately were medical liaisons to bring in supplies and newly arriving medical teams through the federal roadblocks. Now, bunk beds and an operating table have been built inside the hospital. Spiritual strength. The Indian people in Wounded Knee used the spiritual strength in work to overcome the U.S. government. A young Indian man from the north was told by outside authorities that he would receive $2,000 for information obtained inside Wounded Knee. His family would have been paid $20,000 if he died while inside. It was clear once inside that this man had been alienated from his culture and did not understand the source of his creation or the spiritual power. Instead of being jailed, he was turned over to Black Elk, a medicine man and spiritual leader who's the grandson of the original Black Elk. Black Elk began to go through the experience of his people with this young man and found out why and by whom he had been sent there. Then the Indian man began to live the experience of his people, which is much more powerful than money. That man is not yet completely trusted by all, but everyone is working with his strengths and giving him a chance to be an Indian. The communal living is being reestablished inside the new nation. People are working together in close groups who have come from different tribes and different parts of America. They are teaching and using individual skills to build community strength. People are trying to rebuild the relationships between people where locked doors are no longer necessary. Everyone shares the food that is cooked, and all receive what they need because they have contributed to the building of the new nation.